Hello everyone, my name is Heather and welcome to the channel Bookables. Welcome back to another romance video because I don't do these enough. Just kidding, I do a lot of them because there's so many subgenres that I'm gonna keep doing them until forever. So today is second chance romance, and it's pretty self-explanatory. This basically means when a whole book is about a couple that was previously intertwined in the past and something really tragic and horrible happened, but now they're getting their second act, their redemption, their second chance. That was a wink, if you get it, at love. And so that is what this whole, I don't have a ton, surprisingly. When I was composing my list for this, I was like, I'm gonna have so many. And I was writing, I was like, I don't have a lot. I guess I haven't read as much as I thought I did when it comes to second chance. If it's enemies to lovers, I got you covered. But I have a few, so I'm gonna talk about them. Let's get into it. First up, the one I always think of is After I Do by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This is one of her earlier books before Taylor Jenkins Reid really came to be with like the historical kind of celebrities, if you will, like fictional celebrities. She was very much into, I would say, like women's fiction romance, and I love them all, okay? This one is about two characters, Lauren and Ryan. At the beginning of the book, Lauren and Ryan are married and they realize that their marriage is just not going good. So they decide to separate for a year, and after that year, to see if they really want to come back together or not. They each want to discover themselves. And so you go through the whole year with them while also getting a lot of flashbacks to when they first met, when they were dating, when they got married, their earlier days of marriage, to really seeing where it kind of split. This is a love story about what happens when the love fades. It's about staying in love, seizing love, forsaking love, and committing to love with everything you've got. And above all, After I Do is a story of a couple caught up in an old game and searching for a new road to happily ever after. And that's exactly it. And you know, if you are married, and whether you're newly married, whether you've been married for a while, I've been married, it'll be 16 years here in October, so I've been married for a minute. And if anybody tells you marriage is an easy road, it is not. There is going to be some years where it's easy, it's smooth like butter, and everything's just peachy keen. And there's going to be some years where it just is not the best and it is hard. That's how it's supposed to be. Any relationship in your life, marriage, motherhood, best friends, it's gonna be hard because you have to fight for it constantly. And that is what this book is all about. And I loved it. Next up, we have probably my favorite Christina Lauren book of all time, and that is Love in Other Words. This one has recently gotten popular again, and I'm happy about it because, oh, I love it. So this one is second chance romance. It's about friends to lovers. We got lots of genre. We got lots of tropes in this one, okay? So we follow a character named Macy who is settling into her new routine. She's a pediatrics resident. She is getting married to an older, financially secure gentleman. And then who does she run into but Elliot, her first best friend and the first love of her life. And then something tragic happened that tore them apart, and she can't forgive him and he can't forgive her, and oh my gosh. But now they're in each other's life again for some reason. And it says, Elliot will come to understand the truth behind Macy's decade-long silence. Will have to overcome the past and himself to revive her faith and the possibility of an all-consuming love. It's a beautiful book about starting over, second chance at romance. It's just a beautiful one and my favorite Christina Lauren one. Then we have The Rulebook by Sarah Adams. This book follows two characters, Nora and Derek, and this is the part of her series. The first one was Cheat Sheet, so it's kind of like a football romance series. I don't know if she'll have more in it, but we'll see. Either way, Nora and Derek were college sweethearts. Everything was hunky-dory until one day it wasn't. Now Derek is a professional football player and Nora is a sports agent. And who does she get assigned to? But you guessed it, Derek. And not only that, but things get kind of awry when they, you know, drunkenly get married in Vegas, and so they kind of have to fake date while also having the second chance at romance, and it is just ooey gooey. I always describe Sarah Adams books as like cotton candy, sugary sweet, break a cookie, like just ooey gooey romance books, and they are just so adorable. You get to see their love of when they fell in love with college and now with their second chance at love, and it's just so freaking cute. Next up, we have my favorite Emily Henry book, and that is Happy Place. Look, am I in the minority of saying this is my favorite Emily Henry book? Absolutely, but I read this book at a pivotal time in my life, like the perfect time. It was it last year? I think it was last year, and I was 34 and I was learning a lot about friendship and things like that, and this book just really rocked me to my core for that. So in this book we have a character named Harriet, and she is engaged to Win. At the beginning of the book you learn that they have broken off their engagement because of a lot of different reasons, and they have this really strong friend group that they met in college that they are just always getting together all the time. And what do you know, the girls decide in this friend group to get together for one last lobster fest up in Maine at one of their father's like lake house. So it's gonna be like their last lobster fest. And so Harriet's like, great, like I guess I'll tell them that me and Wynn have broken up and that we're not getting married. And then when she gets there to that little lake house, Wynn is there along with all the other guys in this friend group, and they also learn that 2 of their friends are getting married that weekend. Surprise! And so Harriet and Wynn are like, crap, we can't tell anyone that we're not together anymore because that would just really burst this week's bubble. And so they decide to pretend that everything is totally fine, that they're happily and engaged. But of course you can guess feelings emerge because they were engaged, they were in love once. They're rediscovering those feelings, and it was beautiful. I will say this one takes more emphasis on the friendship group and getting into your 30s and all going in different directions and how to live with that much more than the romance, but it still is a second chance romance book at heart, so that's why I'm recommending. And I just love it. Now, if you want one for the spooky season coming on up, the Xhex by Aaron Sterling will do you no wrong. I mean, look at this. So 9 years ago, Vivian was dating Reese and everything was just great. Everything was fine. She's a witch, by the way. And then he just suddenly breaks her heart and he leaves. And she's like, man, forget this. She does what any witch would do. She draws herself a bubble bath, maybe gets a drink or two, and then she decides, I'm putting a curse on this dude because yes. So she's like, you know what? I'm putting a curse with him and all that kind of stuff. And you know, she thinks nothing will come of it because she was drunk and all that kind of stuff. And now 9 years later, obviously Reese is coming back into town because he is one of the town's founding fathers. He is one of the town's like in the founding family, and he has to recharge the ley lines like magic. And when he gets into town, he notices everything starts going awry for him. Like, what does it say? It becomes intact from murderous wind-up toys, a pissed-off ghost, and a talking cat. And so Vivi and Reese have to team up together because she's like, crap, I guess this curse I put on him 9 years ago, it's finally coming into fruition. And so she has to admit it to him. They have to work together to kind of get this really crazy magic at bay in their town. And you can guess what happens from there. Old feelings reemerge, a second chance at love. Things I've already said before. Super cute Halloween one. And I'm going to briefly talk about like 3 that I've read a while ago and that I don't own a copy of, so I have forgotten a lot of them. First up is A Lot Like Adios by Lux Stario. I do love this one. So basically we follow 2 characters that used to be best friends when they were younger. They grew up side by side. Everything was great. And then when they were teenagers, they finally realized, maybe I have feelings for you. Like they realized that. And then the next day, the guy character just up and leaves pretty much. And now it's many years later. He owns like, I think a sports company or something. And he really needs help rebranding and marketing. So who should he know is the best marketer around is his old flame, the girl. I'm sorry with names. I should research, but I didn't, so forgive me. And so he has to bite the bullet and be like, can you help me? And she's like, fine, I'll help you if you tell me if we can finally be friends again, and you can also tell me why you abandoned me many, many moons ago. And so, as always, as I'll say again and again, a second chance of love, a resurgence of love, an opening of another door and another chapter. You get it. And the last one I'll end with is Just Another Love Song by Carrie Winfrey. She reminds me a lot like Sarah Adams, where there's kind of ooey gooey romances that are just adorable. So this one, again, I forget the characters' names, but it's set in a small town. We have a girl that has always wanted to dream bigger and do bigger things in this town. She was with her boyfriend, and they always thought about that, like going to bigger and better places, to leaving this town. And then her father gets sick and she has to stay behind, but the guy doesn't. He goes on to become one of like the biggest country stars ever. And so now it's many years later, obviously, he comes back into town and he has a son and he is newly divorced, and he decided to move back into town for a more normal life. And I don't know why I did that. And he's helping, being on the town committee, like throwing this festival, and him and our heroine are teamed up together a lot, like paired up together a lot for this festival, much to her chagrin, because she's like, this dude abandoned me, I don't want him again. But again, another chance at love opens. They look at each other, they realize the love they had. You know, insert all the movie trailer things you got in here. But either way, that is what the book is about, and it's just super cute. It's not super memorable, not one of my favorite second chance romances, but still a decent one nonetheless. So there you have my favorite second chance romances. I talked about, I don't know, I think I had a decent amount. I need to read more, so that'll be my goal soon. Read more second chance romances. It's not a bad one. I'd love to know what are some of your favorite second chance romance books. Please leave them at the comments below. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.